Welcome to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, a homeschool mom, entrepreneur, and educator with over 20 years of experience in the areas of elementary and special education. It's my mission to help you create lifelong learners and embrace a holistic approach to education at home. I'll be sharing practical strategies, inspiration, and resources to support your family. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, or balancing work and homeschool, you're in the right place to connect with a community that values education just as much as you do. Join us each week as we ditch the stress, embrace the joy of learning, and set your family up for a lifetime of success. Hey everyone, welcome back to Home Education with Ease. I'm your host, Christine Furman, and today, in honor of President's Day, we are going to be talking about something essential for both the kids and the parents. We're going to be talking about teaching money management and budgeting in a way that actually sticks. So let's think about this. Did you have a good financial education growing up? Typically, most of us did not have a very good financial class in school, right? If we went to traditional school, we probably didn't have very good financial classes. We didn't learn how to budget money. We may have learned how to write a check, but where did that go, right? What other life skills did we learn in that class? Did you learn those skills at home? For me personally, I didn't. So today we're going to dive into how can we teach these skills to our kids at a young age so then that way it sticks with them. And the best part is it helps us along the way because we may still be struggling with finances where money comes in and then it goes out so quickly. And how do we get to a point where we can keep it, where we start to feel comfortable and really setting that good example for our kids? So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm so excited. And I love talking about money around President's Day and in February because it's like a 2-for-1 lesson, right? Because it allows us to talk about the presidents and the presidents that are on money. So I'm all about making the lessons connect with the holidays. And that's what President's Day does for me. It's like a quick connection with money because the presidents are on the money. It allows our kids to see the presidents and also identify coins, also identify the amount of each coin, and then just continuing to build those skills as our kids grow. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what are those surface level money activities we can do with our kids, and then what are the next levels as they continue to grow. So are you excited? Let's dive in and let's talk about how we can start raising some money conscious kiddos and really build strong budgeting habits for us as a family as well, because it really is a whole family experience. So we're going to talk about why is it so important to teach this financial literacy and why it's so important to start at a young age with our kiddos. And I'm going to share some fun stories with you as well, some of the things that we do at home and how my kiddos respond to it. And I'm also going to share with you some fun hands-on ways to introduce these money concepts to our kids and some family budgeting strategies that are going to make home education more financially sustainable for you and your family. All right, let's dive in. Well, first we were talking about why do I teach money around February, around President's Day, and it's because of all the ties with the presidents on the coins. So we have George Washington on the quarter and the dollar, Abraham Lincoln on the penny and the $5, Thomas Jefferson on the nickel and $2, and Franklin D. Roosevelt on the dime, and then even John F. Kennedy on the $50. And my kids they're starting to not call it this anymore. They're starting to call it by the correct terms, but they would always call the $50 the Kennedy. This is the Kennedy. And I think it's because it's so much bigger and they can actually see the face on it, where they can see the faces on the other coins. But I don't know. Alex likes to call it the Kennedy, and I love it so much. So when we teach our kids this financial responsibility early on, it really is starting to give them that foundation of that financial literacy and responsibility as an adult. And I'm so grateful to be in that opportunity to share that with my own kids, with my clients, and now with you. And I'm going to share with you some of the things that I teach on with budgeting, spending, saving, giving, and how can we really nurture that financial literacy and want them to be excited about it, because we want them to be excited about this. We don't want money to be that negative term. Oh, I got to do the budget. I want you to come to this with abundance. And here's a little sneak peek. I am going to have a special guest next week, and we're going to talk all about this, about coming to our finances or any money that comes into our space, right? With abundance and gratitude and watching it then multiply. And I want that for our kids. Every time they talk about money, I want it to be a positive thing. I don't want it to be negative. And I've talked about this before in past episodes, and I'll share that. But if they want something, I want to say, not we can't afford it, because there's a negative, right? That can't. And I am so, so big on the positives and, trying to eliminate negative words. So can't, we're just putting not in there. We're making it a negative. So instead of saying we can't afford this, I flip it and I say, well, what can you do to earn enough money to be able to purchase that? What are you going to do? Where can you find money if you want that specific thing? Right now, I'm thinking the big thing for Alex is Lego sets, right? He'll come up and we'll go to the store and can we just go look in the Lego aisle real quick, Mom, real quick? And he's into Star Wars right now, and the big Star Wars sets, Mom, it's only $100. And I love that so much because they do understand money, but still like, oh, it's $100, only 100. And it's like, okay, when you can save that, or if you have money from your birthday or from Christmas, sure, we can look into that. So really giving them that positive financial awareness. When the question may come up, like, when is too early? I say never. Never too early to teach our kids anything. Honestly, teaching our kids from the very youngest is the absolute best, because you're only going to continue to build on the skills as they keep learning and growing. And now you've already given them a foundation. So never too early to introduce money. Go to the grocery store. Look at this quarter. Look at this dollar. Look, I found a penny. A penny is worth one. There's tons of cute songs out there. I have a couple that we use in the EduPlay Learning Activity Kits and the collections. And when I teach my academy students, there's all of these ways that we can just make it fun for our kids. Let's talk about fun and practical ways to teach our kids about money. So the first thing, very young kiddos, making sure, one, here's the thing, never letting them put them in their mouth. So always making sure you're supervising this activity, okay? But giving your kiddos a jar of coins and allowing them to sort them by size, allowing them to sort them by color, allowing them to sort them by value, by the presidents on it, right? Let them show you how they can sort them first. Let them kind of play with it. And this could be real money, and you can always wash the money first so it's not so dirty. We know that money is one of the dirtiest things that we touch, maybe our cell phone now too. But these are the things that are very dirty. So definitely you can always wash them. And actually, that's one of our experiments for our President's Day collection is a penny experiment and see what solution cleans our pennies the best. So definitely you can always check that out. But always just soap and water even. Let them dry. Or you could get plastic coins and you could use those as well. I love to use real money because that's what they're going to use. But you can definitely get plastic coins. I'm sure Amazon and the dollar store would have that as well. So allowing them to have a jar, and it could be a piggy bank, it could be one of their own jars, it could be a mason jar, whatever it may be, and having them sort. And you can even have different pictures, right? Or you can have a sample of each of them after they've taken a moment and just sorted. But you can have a quarter here, and you can have a dime here, and a nickel here, and a penny here. And you say, okay, here's your pile of coins. Now go ahead and sort them, right? So this is working on their money recognition. They're able to identify the faces of the coins, match them up, the sizes of the coins, the color, and then eventually the value, right? Okay, this is a quarter and it's 25. Find me all the quarters. And just so you know, most of the time, kiddos confuse nickels and quarters because they're both the bigger ones. So if your kid does that, don't be alarmed. It happens. And the more and more they practice it, they'll get it. So you can sort them by the value, and you can be talking about that. And you can sort them by find me, a quarter. So you could do it that way. So that is a sorting game and value. I think that is a great way to get our kids started. And it's also a good fine motor skill as well, because they're grabbing the coins, picking them up, putting them down in whatever designated spots that you have, and moving them around. You can even do patterns with coins. I mean, this is what I love to do, guys. I love to take a topic and just give you so many activities and ideas because literally, as you know, I say it all the time, learning is truly all around us. And the things that we have all around us all the time can turn into a learning tool at any moment. So if you ever want any more ideas and activities, be sure to reach out to me because I have tons of different ideas and activities for you. All right, so then the next activity would be a store. So setting up a store. I used to do this when I taught, and it was one of my favorite activities to do. And I had people even at that time bring in old boxes like cereal boxes or yogurt containers or milk cartons. Obviously everything was washed out, but I would have like a store, like actual grocery store set up in my classroom. They had boxes of spaghetti, they had jars of sauce, they had whatever it was, anything that they would need to make a meal, right? You could do this at home with your littles in their play kitchen. My kids do this all the time, setting up their food and, all right, I'm going to go get some vegetables and now I need some fruit and put it in their basket, right? And you can put an actual value on each of those items. At first, make it very simple, depending on where your kiddos are at, right? You can start with pennies. Each item you have is a penny. Then you can move up. Each item you have is $1. All right, now each one is 10 cents. Or, right, so you start with those dollars, those ones. So either it could be coins or it could be dollar bills. Or you can add in different values of coins, tens, and just do dimes. Or just do dimes and nickels. Or maybe you want to add in a quarter, right? Do you see how this can just keep building? These activities are great to start out at a very young age, and then they just continue to build. So again, if you need any ideas for where your child is at, you let me know and I'll give you the next step because that's what I love to do. Yep, this is where our kiddos are at. Let's move on to the next step. So thinking about that, setting up a store at home with that real money or play money, and it's just teaching them how to count money now, the value of the money, selling and buying because one person is the buyer, one person's the seller, right? And working on that transaction of like, I'm going to purchase this. You could even do then how much change you're going to get back if you pay with a $5 bill, right? So many activities here. So a little store is a great way to start that. It doesn't even have to be a food store. Another activity that I did in the classroom was a penny shop. And it was just like 10 different items of like little toys or blocks or whatever it was, whatever I had in the classroom, or now that I do it at home with the kiddos, like, go get me one of your cars and I need a baby doll or a stuffed animal, right? And then you set up a store that way. So it can be a grocery store, it could be a regular store or a department store or a toy store, whatever you want. So some activities there. All right. Number three, this particular activity I've talked about in episode 8. And this is an activity that I heard from a Jenna Kutcher podcast years ago. And I had to have had kids, yes, but they were still very, very young. Alex was a baby, Ella was maybe 3. But I heard this and I was like, yes, like this is what I'm going to do with my kids. And I have done this and I still do this. So we have a 3-jar system: 1 jar for saving, 1 jar for spending, and 1 jar for giving. So whenever I started this, my kiddos were much younger, and I would just give them a penny for doing their chores, right? For getting themselves ready. So I'm all about positive reinforcement. When they do something correct, here's a coin. And then they're feeding off of each other. They see that, oh, this one earned a coin. I want to earn that coin. What do I have to do? So they do that same task. So let's say getting ready in the morning. They have to get dressed and they have to brush their teeth. All right, great. You earned a coin. Go put this in your jar. All right, it's time for breakfast. Everyone come on in. Get your bowls out. Get your food ready. Get a water cup for the day. Oh, great job. You just earned a coin. So, yes, it may take a little bit of time up front, and it may be feeling like you're just rewarding them for everything. And sometimes you do, but it's allowing them to see, like, this is the behavior that mom's looking for. This is what she wants to see. And I'm going to get rewarded, and whether you continue that coin for the reward or eventually, they don't need it anymore. My kids now do their morning routine and they don't need a coin for everything that they do, but they know what's expected of them. And they know that when they did that, they earned money for that. And then they earned something when they had enough money. So I really love that concept of like they're earning money for their tasks throughout the day. It really just helps make the day a little bit easier for us as moms too. So earning money that way, or if they get money for gifts or anything, for us, we just did it basically throughout our day, as a homeschool family of here's your morning routine, here's our school routine, here's lunch routine, right? That's how they earn their money. And let's get to the jars, right? So then we have 3 jars. We have a saving jar, we have a spending jar, and we have a giving jar. Okay. And what they would do is they would take all that money that they've earned and they would have to then divide that money. So here's another math skill, right? They've earned all the money and put it into 1 jar. And now at the end of the week, at the end of the month, whatever that looks like for you, they then have to divide that evenly into each of those 3 jars. So whether that's a penny, each jar, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? They're practicing division. Again, an early age, this works for, right? Because they can just see this now. And this concept is just ingrained in them. They know now that this is division, right? Or you can say, okay, a quarter for this jar, a quarter for this jar, a quarter for this jar. And then at the beginning, I would say you would set up a goal, right? What is something that they want to save for? And how are they going to save that money? How are they going to earn it? And how are they going to save it? Again, starting those early financial skills. Then the next one is about spending. What do you want right now? Do you want to purchase something that is a small gift? Do you want to purchase a snack? What does that look like? Or they can take that spending money and put it over in the saving money. The 3rd jar would be for giving. So giving to your church, giving to a charity, helping others, whatever that looks like in your family. And this really has helped because it's really talking and teaching them about those budgeting skills. It's showing them how we can take what we've earned, divide it up, and then even give some of that, right? and showing them that giving part of it as well, showing them that saving part of it. So, as you can see, I'm very passionate about all of these different activities, and this one included because this one has really built very good financial literacy for even my own children. So, I highly recommend all of these. And as you can see, they can all grow with your kids as well. Then you can easily transition those jars into envelopes or checks or a kid debit card, right? Like they've earned so much money and this is your income. And this either goes right to the bank and then they have a debit card, or here's your paycheck and this goes into the family bank and here's the money that you get, so you can continue to build on this, and again, what makes most sense for your family and really for the time, right? Like I honestly believe, yes, I want to teach my kids how to write a check, but how often do we write checks? We need to know how to do it, but it's not as frequent. So I want them to know how to use a debit card, right? And we think that's so simple, but they look at that. And when we swipe a card, they think like, oh, that money just showed up. Where did that money come from? Really teaching them those skills of saying, well, mommy and daddy work. And because we work, the money that comes in goes into our bank account. And then we have to budget and see how much money do we have for our groceries? How much money do we have for our bills? How much money do we have for the mortgage? And then we're able to use that card and say, this is how much money is available to us. So, really teaching them that skill as well. That is another huge skill that I don't believe can be overlooked. And all of these skills are taught in my math program because it's so, so important. All right. And then the final activity would be going to the grocery store. We talked about setting one up at your home and like a play store. But what about giving your kids an actual list? What about saying to them, all right, I want you to prepare dinner. And this is how much money you have. This is who you have to feed. You need to figure out your budget and you need to go to the grocery store and buy what you need. So now they're able to compare prices. They're able then to see how much all of it adds up. And that could be very eye opening for them because they think you go to the grocery store and you just leave, right? If they're not paying attention when you do go to the grocery store, or if they don't even go to the grocery store with you, right? If they're not seeing that, they just see the food shows up. But if they're witnessing it, then they are able to make that budget, right? Of, yes, this is how much this item cost, and this is what it is going to take to make this meal. And was I able to purchase dessert, or did I not have that in the budget? And allowing them to see that, I think that one is a huge skill. We've done that a few different times. The one most recent time was for Halloween. So we traded in all the candy and the treats that they got. And I said, you can get $10 at the grocery store, but it has to be no food coloring. It has to be no high fructose corn syrup because we know how these additives affect our kids. And it definitely affects my kids. And I'm really trying to help them eat and be healthy. So that was our compromise. We're going to get rid of all of this and I'm going to give you $10. And it was so cool to see them calculate it all in their head. And the best part was they both were under budget. And I loved it so much. And it was just so awesome to be able to see them make that work. What treats can I get for $10? Well, nope, I can't get this one, but I can go get this one. Or I really want that, but I can't get both of them together. So that was really cool to see, and just give them $5, $10, or if they're going to do a meal, give them $20, $30, allowing them to see what that looks like. So as you can see, that stuff all lights me up of how we can teach our kids. Well, now I'm going to share some of these tips on how it can help you as a family especially for homeschooling, and it can all add up, right? So, some of the things to think about is prioritizing educational materials that give long term value. So, for the curriculum that I create and I share with my clients, I'm always looking at here is an activity that you can put in a sheet protector or laminate, and you can continue to use that over and over again. One, we're saving paper. Two, we're able to then use that from one child to the next child. And I love that concept so much. And also being able to practice that skill over and over again. Because a lot of the skills that we have, they're just practiced multiple times in different layers. And that's what I love to present to my families. So, the other thing you can utilize are free or low cost resources, the library for books, tons of books. And a lot of times they have a system where if they don't have it in your current library or your local library, they're in a system and you can put a request and then that book will come in. So think about that when you are planning curriculum. You can always go to book sales. Libraries often have book sales. They have carts outside that are free. I've gotten a lot of books that way. I used to love, I haven't done it recently, but rummage sales at like churches or yard sales. Because a lot of times, even my own family, we have books and I purchase them or they've gotten them as a gift. They read them one time and then they sit there. So think about how you can do some swaps with other families that you homeschool with that you know, or in your neighborhood. This goes for games and puzzles and curriculum, all the things. So think about how you can start swapping the curriculum or books or games, like I said, any of those things to kind of help keep your budget low. And the final thing we're going to talk about is how can you show your family these practical budgeting strategies? Okay, for us, we started incorporating weekly finance meetings. And it's really been helpful to know where your money is and where is it going. Because a lot of times it's easy. You can have money coming in and then it can just go out so quickly. And you're like, wait a second, what just happened there? Well, it's going out to dinner here. It's an Amazon order here. It's, oh, yeah, sure, I'll grab you that at Target. Or, yeah, why don't we go do this? Or, right? It can go so fast. But by having that weekly meeting, we're able to hone it in and say, okay, wait a second. Do we have that in the budget right now? What are our financial goals? Are our goals this year to pay off all the debt? Is our goal to go on vacation this year? Is our goal to whatever? You fill in the blank. What does that goal look like? And you have to stay focused on that goal and get rid of all the distractions. And it's going to take time and it's going to take practice and an effort. But by setting up those weekly meetings or monthly meetings, I recommend weekly, but then a big monthly one of like, okay, this is where we're at for the month. What do we have for, field trips? Or what do we have for extracurriculars? Or do we have money to put in our vacation account? Whatever that looks like for your family. And what I also encourage is include the kids in this process. So when we start our budget meeting on Saturday afternoons, we have our family meeting first. And that's right after lunch. We're just wrapping up lunch and then we're just sitting around the kitchen table, just talking about our week, planning our meals for the following week. So we're ready for the grocery store. And we start talking about the budget and we start talking about finances with the kids still there. And it really allows these conversations to start sinking in. And the questions that they've asked, how do you get a mortgage? How do you buy a house? How do we get a car? These questions are so amazing. And right there, that's education for them because that's life skills. They are learning how to live. They are learning how to navigate the next steps. After they move out of your house, what do we do next? And I think that's just so beautiful. And they're learning right now. I mean, my kids are almost 10 and 8, and they're asking those questions. So I can't even imagine how prepared they're going to be when they get to those moments in their life. And of course, teaching by example is huge because if we're managing our money, our kids are seeing that. If we're talking about it in a positive way with abundance and gratitude, they're seeing that, they're hearing that, they're feeling that. They don't feel that pressure. And we want them to know that if there is some pressure, like, hey, you know what? We're not going to be able to get that right now. Or, you know what? We're going to save our money so then that way we can use it for X, Y, and Z. And then think about it. If they have some big ideas of that they want to do, let them do the budget for it. So Ella recently wanted to go on a hockey trip to see the Penguins play. And I said, okay, look at this. Figure out the plane tickets, the hockey tickets, the hotel, the food, someone to watch the dogs, right? All of these little things add up. And I want you to really see how much this trip would actually cost. And then it allows them to be like, oh, wow, that's not a just buy a ticket. That's not a just get on a plane ride. There's a lot of things involved. So again, involving them in the process allows their minds and their eyes to be wide open. All right. So we're just going to wrap up and I'm going to just thank you guys so much for being here. So I really, truly believe money is a life skill. And I, in my heart of hearts, like seriously teaching our kids early through hands-on learning is so important for every skill and especially for money. So incorporate it into your daily life, into all the lessons, shopping, earning money, saving, giving. Everything that we do is a lesson for our kids. And remember, making it fun, making it an activity that is exciting. Like, great, like this is what we get to do. And it's not stressful. It's not a burden. This is an opportunity to be able to use what we've been gifted and use it in a great way. And just really giving our kids that financial literacy that empowers them for their future and whatever that holds, whatever that may be. So I would love for you to try out some of these activities. Just pick one of these activities with your kids and share it with us in the Facebook group, Home Education with Ease. And that will be linked in the show notes below. But pick one of them. Where's your kid at? And what is something that you can do with your kid this week to practice financial literacy? Maybe what's something you can do too that's going to help your financial literacy as well. So I love to connect with you. Connecting with me in the Facebook group is one way to get connected. Another way is sending me a DM on social media. And then you can also grab the Home Education Vision freebie in the show notes as well. And I just want to say, be sure to join us next week as well, because I have a special guest coming. So Marta Greca is coming and she is sharing her insights again on this abundance, on finding hidden money in your life. You're definitely not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a great episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I hope today's episode left you feeling empowered and ready to take the next steps on your home education journey. Your support means the world to me. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. For even more resources, be sure to join the free Facebook group, Home Education with Ease, and visit eduplaylearning.com to explore our programs and subscription kits. You can find the links and any other links mentioned in this episode in the show notes below. Remember, you're not alone. This community is here to support you every step of the way.